It's good. It's good to be here. It's one of the advantages of being knocked out of the tournament early, getting to cast some good Dota.
Oh
And
yeah.
filling the very important role of the analyst and Durker role, I guess, of this tournament. Witch Doctor picked up once again. Oh my word! This
They
hero,
love that hero. They're absolutely obsessed by Witch
Ilya,
Doctor.
gonna love it again. I think.
Have you guys already spoken about? I think that yesterday or the day before, someone was saying how Brewmasters had kind of 100% win rate in PvD Brawl. Is that still true?
Is it still true?
Uh,
Was it true?
I think so. Yeah, it was true, and I think
No,
it is still
I'm
true.
sure that we witnessed a game that was lost by it. Did Infused not lose a game to? Wait, did you not beat Infused that had Bravado that had the
We beat
Brewmaster?
them when we had Brewmaster. It was our
Hmm.
Brewmaster.
I might be thinking of another game, or I might just be generating memories that don't exist. But I'm sure I've seen Brewmaster lose in this tournament. Well, it'll be nice to get like a full review of like all the stats for this tournament after day four's concluded.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to see. For that interesting article, check out at www.bravadogaming.com. Some fantastic write-ups there by Silica. And yeah, so with Witch Doctor and Trent picked up as two of the supports, and Tidal Hunter banned out. What are we going to see here? Like, what's the offlane strategy? Because Mirana's also been banned out. That's a hero that Richie likes to play. And we saw Thompson with M playing very, very good Mirana in the previous game. So what are we going to see? Well, where's this draft going?
Well, Infused have got a Witch Doctor, which is actually one of the stronger supports in aggressive tri-lane. So there's a lot of room here. They don't have to be picking an offlaner at all. I mean, we expect the Brewmaster to be mid. That's pretty straightforward. But on their side, they could go just about anywhere. Same with, I think we're calling them Flint, right?
Yeah.
Picking up the Disruptor and the tree. The supports can kind of be mobile, also can be static in the lane. The Batrider could be mid, the Batrider could be off lane. So both teams not giving away that much just yet, I would say.
But Batrider and Disruptor and Tree and Protector, think about the synergy that these heroes have, especially against a hero like Brewmaster, or in the case of Tyrant, which has already been banned out, but would be an excellent hero, I think, for possibly both sides in this game. If Batrider gets the jump on the Brewmaster, pulls him back, and into a Disruptor Static Storm, and such a strong hero at dealing with these heroes that have one click and win the game type of spells in Ravage and Brewmaster Primal Split. So,
Disrupt is an extremely popular pick against Brewmaster in a lot of circles. I think Dirk said the other day that especially in the UK, this is a very common counter pick, because if you do manage to catch out the Brewmaster inside the Disrupt ulti, it's almost guaranteed you can kill him before he ultis, which is quite a big deal. So I'd say they probably picked up the Disruptor, maybe even exclusively, just because that's how they want to deal with the Brewmaster.
yeah,
How
and what's
does one
also
counter the counter? Is there a counter to the counter?
Sure, there's well, no, I mean, you don't really need to have a counter, so to speak. It's just about positioning and placement, because if you think about it, it's quite difficult. The Brewmaster is going to have a Blink Dagger. Disruptor very likely won't have a Blink Dagger. The Brewmaster should be able to get his ultimate off before getting caught, so it's more a case of maybe the Bat tries to catch the Brewmaster and pulls him into the Disruptor, and then they've sort of locked him down. But Disruptor alone, even though the ultimate's good against the Brewmaster, is not really going to be shutting down the Brewmaster's ults.
Fair. Sorry, I'm
Yeah,
just
so-
trolling chat a little bit. Guys, do you want to cast this one? Like, I don't want this to get, I
No,
don't want it to get messy.
My-
Or would you like me to insert like random shouting here and there?
yeah, I think that's good because my throat's getting very, very sore and my Dota just crashed. So it's like,
the shouting.
Well, I got a question for you, Zoot. Since I was actually following DK and Newbie, I was playing some Hearthstone matches, so I didn't actually watch the first two games in the series. Could you give a quick recap? I mean, maybe
What?
there's viewers that haven't seen. There could be some viewers who've just joined the stream, don't know what's going on. So just a quick,
Haven't
maybe.
DK. Okay, so DK. What did DK do in the first? They won the first, and then Newbie came back in the second.
No. He
No, no,
watched
no,
it.
no.
He wants a
I'm-
recap
I'm-
of this match.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
asking
saying.
for
This is DK versus Newbie, right?
Yeah, that's okay. Um,
There's a lot of people that come into chat going, DK, they've won, and I was like, what? Okay, you're throwing me
Yeah,
completely here.
Okay.
DK beat Newbie 3-2 in a best of 5, and they've played each other like 100 times in the last week. So
Yeah, I think like the first game would have been, the first series must have been pretty cool, but I kind of got a bit worn out from that. But I'm not worn out from this Phantom Assassin because full of it. They didn't pick it in the last game, which left me kind of sad. But this is now reminiscent of game 1, which Infused picked. That Razor just was awesome. Was it Richie on the Razor?
Yeah, Richie played it. Yeah, Richie
And
played it. So I'll give you a little bit of a TLDR scant. We got in the first game there was a Razor farming. I think it was an aggressive Razor, like aggressive dual lanes coming out from Infused, and they had a last pick Pugna for mid against the PA. And the game was going pretty good. The 4-Love team had Tree and Protector, so they were able to heal up their towers and delay the push as long as possible. But Cook on the Ruster was very, very solid. And, you know, the whole thing with Tree is it reduces chip damage, but it doesn't reduce broken towers. So when Cook got up a couple of levels and he got his ulti, he was able to go in, and once he was in and pushing towers and bringing down the towers, that's when the money flowed in for the supports of Infused, and there was just nothing 4-Love could do. Although Phantom Assassin led like a strong comeback in game number 1, but he got picked off right at the end by a Batrider, which led to like complete GG of that first game. And in second game, a lot more standard, I think, from both sides. We saw 4-Love had a Mirana as a farmer and a mid Razor of their own up against the Lone Druid, and they also had a Batrider on their team against them. Sorry. So, no, it was Batrider against him. So 4-Love played safe lane Zeus plus Tree and Protector against Batrider, and Infused played mid Razor against Lone Druid, and then top lane was Lich plus Mirana versus Sand King, who was in the jungle a little bit, and the Witch Doctor and the Slark. And the Slark just got shut down too much. There were like some very nice arrows in the top lane.
Man,
Lots of nice kills.
I've got to give a little bit disclaimer, but because I did say that Tyrox's Lone Druid sucks like completely. But I'm sorry, Tyrox. I'm sure your Lone Druid has got its shining moments, but in my opinion, that's kind of what led to the downfall.
But hang on, Lone Druid's known to have a pretty weak matchup against Razor, so maybe the lane stage didn't go so well for him.
Oh man, he died like 3 times in the first 10 minutes or 4 times. Like he didn't have a Maelstrom until 25, 29 minutes, something like that.
Well, I think at this point we should just give a shout out to LGP for his Lone Druid, because
It seems like Razor's the winner in this series, right?
It is.
Razor
Yeah,
won
I
game
gave
one,
the
Razor won
100% stats. You're absolutely right.
And the thing about Razor is it's this annoying hero to lane against. It 1v1 seems to handle anything because of the static links dealing the damage, and maybe the most annoying hero to lane against, other than Razor, is actually Viper. So maybe that's what Flint have done here. Picked up a hero that's even more difficult to handle than the Razor is, and yeah, it is Thompson playing it, and he's their mid player, right?
Yeah.
So we might be seeing. I mean, this is tricky because Razor doesn't necessarily dominate Viper, and Brewmaster should struggle quite a lot against Viper, I think.
Well, it's going to be Brew mid. It's going to be Brew mid, and it's going to be an aggressive tri lane, I think, or dual lanes, because okay, so maybe it'll be safe lane Razor and aggressive tri lane because Wraith King's been picked up by Richie, who's a core player. But let's take us through both sides. I'll take it through the Infused side, and then one of you can take the Flint side. You're going to have Richie on the Wraith King, Tone on the Vengeful Spirit, and it looks like they're hitting top 4 in aggressive tri lane. Infused, Elia going to be pulled a Tango, but also buying up a lot of support items as she heads towards the top lane with them on the Witch Doctor. Bot is going to be Tyrox, so they are going to switch it up. Cook is going to be mid on the Razor.
Fair enough. I'm sorry, I've just got to like restart my Twitch dashboard because for some reason Twitch just got deleted from my Chrome, but now I can.
Okay, so should I introduce the Dias along?
Please
go,
do.
go, go.
Please do.
So on the side of Flint, it's Nepali Jesus on the tree, supporting alongside Seso on the Disruptor. and they're going to be supporting Thompson with a P in the safe lane on the Phantom Assassin.
It's actually Thompson with an M. It's not like the Tintin deck.
Oh, right. Okay, and Thompson, which also has a P, as you said, but no M, on the Viper in the mid lane. And the off lane is Arya, maybe a reference to Arya Stark, I guess, on the Batrider. Already leveling Sticky Napalm level 1, which is quite interesting. It means that they're pretty confident that they're going to be facing an aggressive trial lane and it's going to be a 1v1 lane in the off lane, because you wouldn't be leveling that Napalm so early if you thought you might be against 3.
So it's a nice pickup of the late Vengeful Spirit, able to swap a hero out of Batrider Lasso, like, other than Shadow Demon. Oh, nice Deny also coming up there by the Witch Doctor from the high ground. But one of those heroes which, you know, such a nice synergy against the Batrider. And we also have a Sentry Ward here on the Batrider, going to be using that to possibly block out the camp. But it's weird that Arya would take Sticky Napalm and at the same time also be given the Sentry Ward.
Oh, mid. We've got Alia moving in. Are they going to be able to get a kill? Is this going to be Thompson who might be farming the first blood over here? They got everything on him. We've got living armor coming out, but it is going to be the Razor who gets that last hit. Razor OP in this winner bracket finals.
Yeah, the old living armor would have meant that he would have lived there. So this game is 100% lost because of Goblak.
Yeah, sorry guys, I just had a quick disconnect there as the action started. I'm not sure what's up with my internet, hopefully it'll stabilize, but I was actually just gonna say, I mean, not really analysis, but don't you think Vengeful Spirit's cosmetic items are beautiful?
Pretty hot.
Legendary wings, mythical helmets. Yeah, that's best dressed character, definitely in the game.
Yeah, so I don't think it'll really give them an advantage play-wise, but
I think the cosmetics will.
I think it'll improve morale.
Okay.
But yeah, while we're talking about cosmetics, maybe we should also give a big shout out to Dota 2 Lounge hosting this game on their very fantastic website and providing a lot of exposure to this Bravado Brawl between top UK and South African teams as they battle it out. Only one South African team left and these two UK teams. This is the winners bracket final, and the loser of this goes on to meet Bravado Emotion in the losers bracket final right after this.
And guys, if you're watching, make sure you do tune in for that. The next game is really going to determine whether or not a South African team is going to make it into the grand finals that will be played tomorrow evening. It should be really interesting because they're part of under the organization who hosted this tournament. And the manager, directors there are really hoping they have a team that's going to be present.
Yeah, so that's the thing, Scamp. Who do you think? Do you think, like, based on after this? I'm going to ask you this question now and at the end of the game. But basically, Bravado Emotion versus the loser of this. Do you think Bravado Emotion can take it 2-0 or 2-1 or whatever, win the series?
Yeah, they're going to win.
Straight up.
Yeah, Bravado Emotion are going to make it to the grand finals.
Are they going to win the grand finals?
I don't know if they'll win the grand finals, and also I think that they'll much more likely make it to the grand finals if they're facing Infused, because after speaking to them, it seems like I mean, I don't know if they're the kind of guys to get a mental block. They're very confident players, but all of them just kept talking about Thompson and how his mid is just too good and too strong and too scary. So, you know, maybe there'll be some issue if they have to face him again, but I don't see them having trouble against Infused if that's what it comes to.
Okay, fair enough.
Well, speaking of Thompson, he's caught up a little bit in this mid lane, up to 11 creeps, only 3 behind the Razor, despite dying and missing out on at least 2 waves. Did he walk back in, or did he get a TP scroll? Because I don't think he had many creeps by that time, and no one else could have bought a TP scroll for him.
I didn't see, I'm not sure. So, yeah, as you said, this lane where both heroes are really annoying to lane against, it does seem to favor the Razor, because Razor doesn't need to do anything to trigger the corrosive skin. You can just steal your damage and then outlast hit you all the time. And it's sort of awkward for the Vipers to try harass the Razor, because then he is going to be trading badly. So I'd say the lane favors the Razor, even though there's very few lanes that are favorable against Viper in mid. This is probably one of them.
Yeah, I mean, what can actually beat a Viper mid? Like, obviously a dual lane can do well. But Thompson's also realized that maybe like mind gaming a little bit to the Razor here, saying, okay, well, normally what happens is a Razor in mid takes max corrosive skin, and then he's able to get the harass off. and able to out-harass in some ways, when the Razor has stolen a lot of damage. But in this case, he's taken 2 levels up in poison attack, something we don't really see that often. Normally it's just corrosive skin and 2 up in nether toxin.
Yeah, I mean, Viper skill boards vary from Viper to Viper, from game to game. It's not uncommon to see any variation of 2-2-2 or 2-1-2 or 1-2-2 or 2-1-1, whatever. As long as you have a bit in everything, it's usually pretty standard on the Viper early on, I would say.
And what do you think about this Batrider build? Pretty stock standard in this game. We've seen some unusual Batrider builds in this tournament, where they've taken like max flame break. I mean, max flame break. That's right.
Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty normal Batrider build, although I'm actually quite a fan of the flame break build, depending on the game. Sometimes having a early high damage nuke on flame break takes enemies by surprise, and that first gank you get like a lot more done because they're not expecting it. What I wanted to actually talk about was the Wraith King skill board, which involves the early points in crits in Mortal
which
Strike,
is like
which
pretty bad.
Yeah, it's very unusual. You usually see early points in stats or lifesteal on this hero to give himself more stuns or to help out with the sort of the early fighting. So I don't know, we'll have to watch out for it. Maybe there'll be a clash, he'll get a crit, he'll make a kill, and then we'll be like, oh, value crits, well done.
The thing is that, so normally you go Wraithfire, stats, and then you're forced to go for 1 point in Vampiric Aura before going for the 3rd level in Hellfire Blast. But the thing is, getting 1 early level of Vampiric Aura also does push your lane a little bit. So maybe he's like, I don't want to push the lane, but I don't want stats. I want to be able to fight as soon as possible. Because looking at the lineup of Infused, they've got such a strong mid game. They don't have any true carries. Like, Wraith King's pretty close.
But the truly professional move, if you're scared of pushing the lane, is to just not level the skill, keep the points.
Yeah. But sometimes
he's actually leveled 1 of each now, so I don't think that's his concern. He's not interested in stats at all. I mean, because he's the core and not a support, he got the early trades. It gives him help with some of the mana issues. He's got the magic stick as well. So I guess that's reasonable enough. It is. I mean, going for that early Mortal Strike is definitely the best build for like sneaking in a kill that you might not have otherwise got early on.
Yeah.
But it doesn't feel like Flint are actually trying to contest this lane too hard. The Treant is not even there at the moment. He's making some stacks. He's walking around. So it looks like Flints are going to try and dodge any kind of engagements in this lane for quite a while.
In the bot lane, do you think Batrider is doing a good enough job here? I mean, Brewmaster is a hero that's quite annoying to have to try harass out of lane. The Stomp does a lot of damage, guaranteed first crits. I think he should just grab Tyrox here and maybe try drag him under tower. At least force the LT out, because if he doesn't do that, Tyrox is going to be able to go into another lane and just wreak havoc with his ulti.
It's a tough call. I mean, if he dragged him there, I'm not even sure if he would force the ulti. If he did force the ulti, he might die. This is actually, I mean, you can't underestimate the power of a Brewmaster. Again, as I said, he misses the Stomp, but look, he's going to get the farm in the meantime, and this is not clearly like a favorable lane for Batrider, and I think trading even farm is probably roughly what I'd expect to happen in this lane.
But he's doing worse than that. I mean, there's like 30% extra farm on the Brewmaster.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so I mean, maybe the Bat's underperforming slightly to be a little bit behind, but again, so that's, I mean, that kind of minor difference.
Oh, some action top. Sorry,
got
just
a
to catch
fight
you up
happening.
there.
We've just got a TP in, and Thompson just going to land and hit that last shot on the Witch Doctor. Witch Doctor feeling. I've seen a lot of people talking in chat about how Witch Doctor's going to do, but Cook has now taken it. We've got Static Link on Thompson. This is a lot of damage. The 1 second until Thompson going to blink away. That's a nice move, and maybe with that static link damage, they could pressure the tower. They seem to like...
It's not going to last very long, though. You know, it's a huge amount of damage, but it's going to die off in a second or two. Maybe, ooh, the Folly could have maybe get caught out here. There's phase boots up on the Razor, but the damage stolen is gone. The living
well,
armor
he's
is going to be
he's got the cooldown. He could use it again if he wants to go deep. Got the link.
Oh no!
Not sure why. Okay, he's gonna retreat now so that he can
I think
avoid
that, yeah, a
getting
little bit of
caught out of
baiting.
himself.
Yeah.
This is bad for Cook. It's just an absolute nightmare. There's a storm coming, and he hasn't got any teammates near him, and that is going to be a kill on the Razor. Who's got the last hit? It's actually Seiso gets it.
Yeah, one last tick on Thunderstruck. But Richie's still farming top, and there was 4 heroes being committed there, and Thompson also returning to the same lane, which is quite pushed out. So I think that the Brewmaster, who's about to get his Blink Dagger, actually. Would be happy with that trade.
Yeah, I mean the Brewmaster is probably going to be doing much more immediately with his Blink Dagger than the Batrider. They get their Blink Daggers up at roughly the same time, but Brewmaster has a much bigger impact, and also the kind of impact Brewmaster's having reduces the power of the Batrider significantly.
So Thompson just picking up and then sending straight towards him his finished off treads. Going for the treads build, not the the tanking brazen build, not the speed build.
Oh, he's got reincarnate. Of course he does. And he's gonna be back
Thompson
up.
now in a lot of trouble.
It's gonna be a stun over there. He blinks away, but it's gonna go through regardless. That's a really nice kill for Richie, actually.
I just want to say, I mean, it looks like they're gonna pursue for the next kill. The Brewmaster he blinks over, he stomps, and that's easily gonna be a kill on the Disruptor. But that wasn't planned, by the way. I don't want to give them the credit for that. Wraith King actually got caught out there, but just because of the hero having the ulti it has, they transformed that into making 2 kills and not getting any actual death on their side. And it's the strength of the hero.
Oh, action mid, Cook getting engaged by Batrider, and they're just fighting. Yeah, good play there. The casks have been so good, but always late. Like, not to discredit the positioning, it's just more about the fact that there's nothing she could have done in time. But it's always, the casks are so pesky in these team fights.
I've got Thompson coming in. A little bit of damage on Richie, who's got cooldown on the ulti.
Just getting fogged.
Oh, Thompson as well coming in. Both the Finns attacking. We have got support coming through like the Disruptor pushing Tone backwards. Nicely done. Venge will hit the deck. And maybe we're going to get a counter push going now as there's 4 heroes on top.
Soon to be 5, TP coming in.
Is it? Incoming gold for the Flint players. Take this wave as quickly as possible and get that push going. We've still got Cook's just fallen down into the bottom lane. He's been feeding a little bit, so I think he's concerned about his net worth at the moment.
Oh, they're just afraid of the Brewmaster ulti. Like, that's the power it really brings. Like, even though Brewmaster's not there, the threat of him being able to TP in and get off a good ulti, just too scary.
And they rotated a lot of heroes for that. There's no pressure happening anywhere else on the map for now. And Jesus will appear.
Jesus will appear next on Zoot Live.
Zed Live now, man. Come on, it's like I need to file a law case against you if you refer to it as Zoot Live. This is it's changed times.
Do we just say Zlive?
Zlive.
it's not that catchy, is it?
No.
Ooh,
okay,
Dagger going in here. A little bit of damage. Are they gonna try to be able to burst down Tyrox? No, they're not. And this ulti gets popped off. This is now everyone has to run for the hills. There is a nice Viper ulti onto the Razor, and I think that they're all going to be able to get out. But I mean, the Fire Panda is really, really fast, but without his friends, probably not going to be able to pick up Thompson here.
Nice pass. Thompson's just showed his face for a little bit too long. Is this going to be another kill? No, we've got living armor on it. Thompson is appearing, but it's just a little bit of a standoff. I don't know if there's anything that's going to happen, but Cook, he wants to TP out, but he is pushed away.
Oh, they're going to get Elia as well. This disruptor play has been very, very good, I think. Scant, as a disruptor player, do you like the play that Seiso has made so far this game?
Yeah, all this, especially in that fight, all the spells were used perfectly. It's exactly the right glimpse, especially, and that's sometimes people struggle with that. I mean, he might have wanted to use the glimpse to stop the Razor's TP if he misjudged the time it would take to kill him, and intelligently so, using the other spells to deal with the Razor and the glimpse to make sure they kill the Witch Doctor as well.
What do you think of the build on the Disruptor? I really like leveling glimpse early on. Do you think there could have been anything better, or this is ideal?
Yeah, this is pretty much the default go-to build, and the only variance you see usually is sometimes leveling of Thunderstrike ahead of Kinetic Field, but these days the default is just you max the glimpse, then you have one in the other two, then you start maxing Kinetic Field.
Yeah, I get enraged in pubs when I see someone pick Disruptor and they don't skill Glimpse until like level 7. It makes me hate humans. Richie in trouble. Reincarnate's not up for 30 seconds. That's one dead Wraith King and nothing to take back in return.
Yeah, the pickups, the Batrider in this game has just earlier Blink Dagger and much more aggressive play, really.
It's a very important kill though for Flint because Wraith King is starting to pick up the pace of the farm. That's the first time he's died this game, like without the ulti popping. And they're going to have to watch out, because if Wraith King manages to storm ahead and
Ooh,
farm, he
glimpse
could
happening
be
here.
a power to be reckoned with. Oh, Tone trying to do something, but just too weak, too feeble on his own. We've got Elia, Richie's come back, his ulti's going to be live once more.
Oh, some action in the mid lane. Nefali G's is trying to go invisible. So, they're going to bring him down with a static storm. And Thompson trying to come do some damage back on Cook here, but there's Brahmo splits up. I don't know if they want to fight this really.
Cook can try and attack back if he wants to. He was doing such a huge amount of extra damage, but maybe they were expecting a couple more heroes to appear.
Yeah, so Infused I really think is the team that I've noticed from this tournament, which is pretty good at making sure they get some good trade, even when they lose out. Early on when we saw the Disruptor making the 2 kills in the mid lane, Infused were taking top tier 1 with the Brewmaster and the Vengeful Spirits, and right now we saw a pick-off happening in the bot lane in favor of Flint, and Infused quickly jumped and made a pick-off in the mid lane. It's one of the strengths of this team, definitely making sure they get trade-offs when they do lose out somewhere else. And as I said, Brewmaster's blinking into the Stomp, he's baited on the Disruptor ulti, and Bats is not going to grab him and pull him back in.
But there was a glimpse.
That was a mess.
That was a little bit of a mess there.
That was a mistake from the Disruptor, glimpsing the Brewmaster actually out of the Bat's lasso. So that's definitely a case where the Disruptor's gotten it wrong, and maybe now Infused are going to try and force the issue on this tower now that they know that the Disruptor ultimate's down and the Bat ultimate's down.
Yeah, this has got to be a great time. We're going to get Traffic Field there. Not really going to stop them much. Richie and Clorox at the head of the charge. This should be a dead tier 1. We've got Nepali Jesus on the side. Is there going to be an overgrowth? No, he's level 5 still, and that's going to be movement in here from the Infused players. Thompson going to fall. That is the Viper down. Disruptor as well. There's just going to be Brewmaster just picking up the frags over here in the tiebreaker game, remember. Infused, they're good on the net chart. They're catching up on the kills. And they really want to secure themselves the money here in the Bravado Brawl tournament.
Yeah, and there's definitely some indecision there in that previous engagement where it looked like Flint had decided they can't defend the tower, but they were sort of not willing to commit to letting it drop, and so by Thompson actually standing a bit too close, maybe wanting to throw out that ulti and getting caught out, and now they've lost the second tower where I think if they dropped the first tower, they could have quite comfortably defended the second tower, but the way they dropped the first tower meant the second tower went down too, and they get punished for their indecision.
Thompson, meanwhile, during that time, is trying to pick up a bit of money down in the lower lane. He's finding himself quite far behind. This PA game and the last PA game that he's had have really not been successful at all, so Razor, the way things are going, we might see a continuation on the 100% win rate in this winner bracket final.
Yeah, PA actually a hero that it wants to be able to go all in farm, get like an early Battle Fury or Midas or something, or a hero that wants to be able to fight early. But the problem with the latter is that I think it's really difficult for Thompson to be fighting, except for where Disruptor's getting off really good ultimates or Bats catching people out. A lot of these fights just aren't safe for a Phantom Assassin with 900 hit points to blink into. She's just going to blow up.
And going for such a unusual / greedy build here, going Yasha. Like, what do you have? Like, why no? I mean, Midas, or why no Battle Fury or BKB? Like,
well, unusual, yes. Greedy, no. Right? So it's in fact I'd say it's the opposite of greedy. Right? She's bought the Yasha to try and mobilize for combat really fast. Maybe to get a fast Manta style SNY. It's very useful in those small skirmishes where the whole team's not there early on, where a Midas or Perseverance or something like that wouldn't actually be doing anything.
But don't you think it would be better if she bought drums, or like drum is a better fighting item?
Well, we've got a fight happening here. Elliot's been pulled back by the lasso. We've got to swap though, so Doan wants to be the sacrificial target. Jesus, he's up in close. Is he going to be taking a knock on this one? We've got Blade Mail up on Richie. The Disruptor ulti has pulled out as well. This is turning into actually a really successful fight for Flint, and that is going to be the reincarnation here of the Wraith King. Can they pick up the kill though? Because now that he's been resurrected, he's starting to absolutely deck the team, and Tyrox with him. There's an ulti up in 3, 2, 1. He can't pop the ulti, and that is going to be Richie just taking the rest of the fight on, and can't get himself another kill either.
So that was a 5-for-2 fight, or 5-for-3. Pretty excellent overall for Love.
Brewmaster ult, man. One more second, and maybe there could have been a nice little turnaround.
Yeah, I mean, Infused just weren't ready to take that fight. They wanted the Brewmaster ultimate to cool down first. And even though the Vengeful Spirit dying, now with the leveled aura, reduces their damage, the Razor died but managed to steal some damage first. Even though there was all that damage gone, just the fact that the Brewmaster got zoned out, I think that sorted out the fight. And we have to say well done to the Disruptor there, who immediately static stormed the Brewmaster as he blinked in, and then the next time he tried to come in, glimpsed him back again. So the Brewmaster, yeah, he didn't have his ulti, but he didn't even get to stomp until like the fight was pretty much over.
Making up for the glimpse beforehand in mid. Which could have easily been a kill then, but...
Yeah. Well, I mean, Brewmaster not having ulti there was also like split like very, very close. Like 4-Love were risking a lot by going into that fight, not knowing when the Brewmaster ult. I mean, unless they've got someone who like wrote down the time, called the timeout on the last one, they didn't have any idea how close Cyrox was to finishing that. I don't know.
It's still a gold advantage though for Infused. It's kind of floating around the 5k mark. Their experience is however in favor of Flint, and now it looks like we've got pressure coming in on the mid tower. Gonna pan out on this one and see if Infused are gonna look for a defense as a reincarnation not up on Wraith King, but we do have the Panda ult. But actually Flint have just backed the hell off, and they might just go and get that top tower instead.
Yeah, and it's actually pretty intelligent, I think. They seem to have baited Infused to the mid lane, and now they're switching to the top lane. And it's going to make it very hard for Infused to get a trade if they do go for that top tower, because standing in the mid lane, there's nothing for Infused to get. There's no towers. Both of them are already dead.
Pings are flying out as well. Cook alerting his teammates, and it is a nice move for him not to stand too far at the front. Arya going to find him, so we could have something from the back. It's going to be a lasso. A crit, nope. But Tyrox, there's a full 3-man stomp over here. He can go into his ulti form right now. Who's he going to be chasing down? Thompson, you are in trouble, sir. One Finn about to die. And is he going to be able to chase anybody else, or is they going to settle with a 1-for-1? Actually, they found Arya.
Yeah, Arya can maybe blink dodge in the second. Yeah.
Ooh.
So I think that's perfectly fine. I mean, it's a call for a call. They don't take the tower, which is a little bit unfortunate, but Brewmaster uses ulti, and now they're going to be able to fight him.
There's no overgrowth up as well.
Static Storm catching out 3.
That is huge at the moment. Can they get the damage going? Oh, they're so weak. That is going to be 3 heroes falling over here. What a nightmare. The Panda did manage to get out, but I didn't think that the re-engagement from PA was going to be good, but then the heroes were lapping around, and it turned out to be a perfect counter plan.
I was 100% say so though, getting a 3-man Static Storm man kinetic field.
Definitely.
Yeah, exactly as Knoxville said. I mean, that's the Brewmaster ulti was wasted, and the fight was sort of over, and Disruptor had cost nothing actually. I think 1 kinetic field. Arya had been far away when the initial fight broke out and sort of walking up and down the river waiting to do something useful. And it was probably a mistake by Infused in this case to hang around so long, to chase so far out.
Yeah, the level's looking really nice on the cores for Flint actually.
Yeah, I mean, Wraith King's still at the top in terms of net worth though, but he's gotten the items that are like, I don't necessarily like agree with that much. The blade mail after Tread's drum, it's maybe Scan can explain why that's a good build and try to convince me.
It's a pretty standard build actually on Wraith.
Yeah, no, I mean it's standard, but that doesn't mean I agree with it.
Okay, well, I mean the general idea is that the concept of this hero is to just charge into enemy heroes and get lots of stuff done. If they kill you, your ulti ruins them. And Blade Mail just kind of builds on that same idea, that if they're trying to stop you getting stuff done, your ulti and your Blade Mail ruins them. Now, I'm guessing your contention is that, well, you're not getting enough done to force them to not just ignore you, but I don't know, Wraith King has big crits, Wraith King has extremely short cooldown on stun, and I think Wraith King actually does get, surprisingly, like, a large amount down in a fight where he's not being dealt with. Like, Bad Rider gonna jump in and catch the Brewmaster, and we're gonna have to see if they can actually control it before not to be able to ulti. Disruptor gets the stack, but he jumps out of it, he stomps, and he's gonna be able to ulti if he wants now, but he does get glimpsed back. not even going to need the Brewmaster ulti. That's a 2-4-0 very, very easily for Infused.
Wow. I think the Batrider definitely had a far more positive image in his mind when he was about to make that lasso work. That was completely the opposite of what he expected.
And Tree gonna possibly get caught out here. Here comes a stun. Wraithfire blast on top. Gonna try maybe ulti. Let's get a 2-man ulti off actually.
Is he gonna have to get away from it?
Yeah, I think he's fine. I think he's gonna be out of the range right now.
Oh,
and this is gonna be a free Witch Doctor.
Yeah, which is the main place that Splints are getting value at the moment. This Phantom Assassin that we discussed a couple of minutes ago, maybe 5-6 minutes ago, with the Yasha. Look at it now, Helm of Dominator, 3,000 gold. This is becoming very quickly a terrifying Phantom Assassin, yeah. Get the Aegis, get a damage item, and then maybe head towards that BKB, and PA is going to become extremely difficult to handle.
Can you Manta out of Static Link, or does it still work?
No, it'll follow you. In fact, I can't think of anything that stops Static Link. That spell's quite ridiculous. You can't stop with Vanish.
Does it Manta make you invulnerable for like a second?
I'm pretty sure it doesn't work. I don't know, we'll have to see it, but I know that if you say she has Aegis now, and she's being linked and she dies, the link will keep going while she's dead.
Hold on a second, guys. We've got a big fight happening around the Rosh pit. They've managed to move in, but I think Rosh has got taken down already, and Infused have just walked into their death over here. Again, Sesa playing nice with the Static Storm, but now actually Infused are starting to come to life a little bit. They're getting their stuns down. Witch Doctor helping immobilize the enemy, and that is going to be Aegis pop. They're going to find the other Finn down on the ground. Elia as well trying to get another cask out. Thompson desperately wants to run away. Cook going to be able to chase. Tyrox is on the case as well. And the PA, who was just looking so damn good a second ago, is just going to be humbled by this experience.
So 4-for-1 fight. Great exchange for the side of Infused here. And they're just pushing their advantage. They didn't use Brewmaster ulti. They're going to raise the ulti up and mech up in a short period of time. And I think that the PA could have actually blinked to creeps there, but, you know, like, from much further away. But his decision to run at this awkward side angle secured his death. And mid-rack's probably going to be falling here.
I thought Infused were looking a little bit shaky at the beginning of that fight, but they managed to turn it around really convincingly. As soon as the Disruptor spells wore off, it was like, oh, now we can do stuff again. And
but they're trying to bring down the Brewmaster here. Not enough DPS on him, and he's still got ulti. They need a good silence, but silence is still down for 5 seconds. Static Storm is going to be key here. Holding it in place 1 second until Static Storm. Too late. And this time, Brewmaster going to be able to get it all off. Thompson's taking a lot of damage. He has to blink to a friend. Try to get out of there.
Is there a stun left on him? They can slow him down, but he's not going to be chasing up with that one. Cook as well. He's getting very weak. They can almost take down the tier 3. Cook's got so much damage. Oh, he's been taken back. Was that a glimpse over there?
Yeah, glimpse and also blink struck.
Yeah.
Good hold over there, and not even losing the tower. They got a tree up in 10 seconds, and this tower is on almost no health, but you got a tree. It's going to be on like 400 health by the time there's the next fight here. Maybe more.
I think they should maybe have just gone objective based, like Razor and stuff towards the end. I think you should have just forgotten about trying to get kills, because there was only 1 or 2, like the Razor, the static link charges, he could have been like 1 or 2 hits and it would have died. I don't know if the backdoor protection kicked in though, because I think creeps were dying fast.
Yeah, so I don't know that much about the UK Dota scene, but I get the sense that in this matchup there's some one-upmanship going on, or maybe it's just the style of these teams, but it feels like neither of these teams want to back down ever. They want to just keep fighting each other and fighting each other and fighting each other.
But one of them's from Essex, so, you know, like, it's a given. You what, mate? You what, mate?
Because, I mean, the other 2 UK teams in this tournament, actually, we saw at least one game from both Bronze and Ichigo where they were playing for a very late game kind of scenario. Yeah. Whereas these 2 teams really seem to want to just smash their heads into each other over and over until someone dies.
I like that.
But which is the Welsh team? Is it Bronze? I think it's Bronze. It's the Welsh team.
Well, we might have a wraparound over here. We've got a smoke. They should know exactly where they are. Which way are they going to go around doing it? Batrider.
Patience from Arya.
Floating.
Yeah, Tyrox is going to have ulti up in a few seconds, so I think they must grab him and they must try to pick him off.
We've got a straggler, boys, but it is going to be the Static Storm that's appeared at the same time, and he can't do anything. Is there enough time? He gets into ulti form. The gank was a failure, Batrider, and he is going to pay his debts immediately. sure the Venge drops, but that is not quite as precious a target. And the Panda should be able to get... What? Micro skills?
I'd say so, going to take the fall as well. So supports and a support for a support and a core. Not really the trade that Flint wants. Are they going to be able to hold high ground? I mean, they use Brewmaster ulti. Every time you use this ulti, it's like, okay, like it's one of the things you consider, but as something that you get over and over and over, it's like it does cool down. It's not something that you like actually actively give up. And this is an interesting item choice. Wraith King going for the Radiance.
I like it.
Really does. I like it too. Ooh, Richie taking a lot of damage, throwing out his blade mail. It's going pretty slowly, and you hear Cook on the side. I think they should try kill Coco first.
Is he going to res? He is. They might regret this because the Wraith King's going to come back and he is going to be hurting a lot. We've got Manta used by Thompson, but we have got the stuns down. Can he run away? Alright, he's going to be able to survive.
Melodic doing a lot of damage as well.
Nice sort of novelty swap there by Tone.
Yeah, and the Wraith King build here, it speaks to exactly what your concern was earlier.
Yeah, now he's a threat. Now I think he's 100% something you have to kill.
You can't ignore a hero with the Radiance in a fight. It's just, I mean, I guess there's one downside here, which is that the Wraith King's Radiance is going to mean that whenever he's near Viper, he's going to be slowed and taking damage from the corrosive skin.
Yeah.
But I still think it's a nice pickup in the sense of, you know, you can't ignore me, you have to go on me, and then I've got a Blade Mail and ulti, which is going to rip holes in you.
Looking at things the way they are right now, Scan, what are you thinking? Is Infused gonna take, what kind of percentage chance do you think Infused has of taking the game as it is at the moment?
I think Infused has probably a higher chance actually. I mean, I was just looking at the bot lane quickly. There's a Bat Rider catch here on the Brewmaster. The Brewmaster's gonna get caught out. He does have his ulti and there's no Disruptor here, so
here come the
Disruptor's
TPs.
arriving late.
Throwing down in a nice kinetic field, so the people who are coming in late are going to take a huge amount of damage here, but are going to still be able to do something. No one's dropped yet for the side of Flint. They're all pretty healthy. Now Viper's just getting chunked. He's going to get brought down.
Oh man. Oh, that is a brutal. The Death Ward is hurting so much. Arya and Thompson all by themselves. Get a little force stuff there from Thompson. That
I think
cute.
Tyrox is in an awkward position. He's going to get brought down. Maybe if he can finally get a crit in, maybe not.
He can't hit.
Just
you can't hit anything when Brewmaster's near you, and Jesus is going to be able to teleport out, but that is a low priority target.
Jesus always gets a second life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we need to see MKB coming out now on the PA, just to deal with the Brewmaster.
As far as Infused is concerned, that was basically a team wipe right there.
Yeah, and they're going to get the top tower off it as well.
And bot. As you were saying though, Scan, when I was asking you about, I guess now it's slightly bit more in favor of Infused?
I was gonna say right before the fight broke out that I already thought that Infused were favored here. The style that these two teams are playing, where everyone just bashes each other's heads into each other, it feels like it suits Infused's lineup more because Wraith King does really well in that kind of situation, Brewmaster does really well in that kind of situation, and what Flint need is they need a like perfect Disruptor ulti or perfect Bat ulti or both for these fights to be going their way. Whereas it feels like Infused, they just get their spells off, it'll go well. And yeah, I was talking earlier about how PA can get scary, but at the same time, Vengeful Spirits, if she dies, is going to reduce the PA's damage. Razor, if he targets PA, he's going to reduce the PA's damage. There's a lot of disables. There's Brewmaster with his evasion, the Wraith King with his Blade Mail, so it's not quite PA's game yet, and it feels like, by default, Infused are a bit more favored in these fights, and getting to a tipping point where if one or two more of these fights go Infused's way, I wouldn't be surprised if they got a Rex.
In Vizroon, it's just, okay, there you go, eat the fire, eat the fire. Are we gonna get a swap out? Which, oh, we got mech, no swap. Tone's like, oh, it's run out, I can't believe he's gonna survive this. Oh, Elia, well calculated.
And the paralyzing casks were bouncing between the golems there. I didn't actually know that happened.
Yeah,
I mean,
so that's something we noticed, is that they can first of all bounce between golems, and second of all they can bounce between, like, in and out of fog, as per the last change. We saw fights where someone was running up the hill here in the bottom lane, and the cask went onto it, and it bounced into the fog onto the engine, and then back onto them. I think it was actually one of the South African teams who got frauded like that.
Yeah. I mean, it didn't result in anything, but it took us by surprise.
Yeah, the fog buff is definitely significant, and I noticed that one. I just didn't realize that golems, which are presumably spell immune or whatever, could be bounce targets. The extra thing to make the Witch Doctor a great pickup, I guess.
He's been, honestly, Witch Doctor's been like one of the most popular heroes for the UK guys.
So this is a little bit cool / weird in that we see Seso going for the Ag Scepter on the ultimate. I mean, it does. It is an upgradable ultimate. It does what, more damage, or is it more damage?
Increases the duration and it makes it turn off items.
Yeah. Well, the items is a big part. I think it does. Doesn't it do a little bit more damage or not?
Well, the damage. I think the damage just comes from the fact that you get longer duration in the way the spell works.
Okay.
It deals more damage every second.
But yeah, the most important thing, disabling items, and Razor has a BKB, and Razor's been the one who just runs around and fights and does so much. Yeah, Elliot,
Revenge.
a little bit of deja vu, but the swap comes down and Arya's gonna get brought down.
These pickoffs from Arya have been questionable, to be honest.
Was that a bait? Was that like, we'll go to the same place again and see if you want to go on me?
Does he fall for it once again?
Well, bottom tower is gonna die here. There's nothing that's the side of Infused can do.
Do you think that the UK teams like Witch Doctor more than the African teams because to Africans Witch Doctors are pretty normal? To them it's like exotic, you know, it's like, oh, it's a Witch Doctor.
South Africans also pick a lot more lion, so maybe. But a lot of damage coming out onto Richie here. He's going for an Assault Cuirass, it looks like, or maybe a Maelstrom. Actually, sorry, I'm talking rubbish. He's going for Majorna. But Richie's gonna possibly die. No, neck comes out. And glimpse into a static storm. Are we gonna see a glimpse coming back here? We are. And Tyrox
too late.
More back into the static shield. The static field as it's dying.
Oh my god, man, this Wraith King is just absolutely wrecking faces right now. They've popped off a load of ultis as well on the Flint team. They could possibly thinking about going Rax at the moment. Richie not really fussed about the fact he's got so low health because he is going to be back in a second to cause a lot more trouble. And Tyrox has even moved in. He is just going to shift into 3 pandas right now, and that is a dead disruptor. I think right now we might be seeing GG's here in the winner bracket final. I don't know if there's any coming back from this. They're so far ahead. Okay, there's survival from the PA, but this is just more damage than you can recover from.
Depends if their top Rax dies. If their top Rax dies, this game's already over. They managed to somehow survive the top Raxes, keep the top Raxes alive now, then they might have a chance.
There's still like 2,500 gold until the PA can get that MKB, and I think that's just...
I think MKB would have just been so much better in this game. Like, I mean, sorry, BKB. Than Manchester.
It's the problem with Phantom Assassin, right? If you have to rush a BKB on the hero, it gives you much less value than it usually does. Usually you want to see people picking it in lineups where, for whatever reason, it doesn't need to rush the BKB. And when it does rush the BKB, it's because it combos somehow in your lineup, or because it was forced to, based on the game not going exactly how you wanted it to.
Yeah, but Infused off the back of this, gonna grab Rush. And Brewmaster ulti is gonna be back in just a few seconds, 20 seconds time, so...
Yeah, Flints are gonna go for one last YOLO fight, I think. They know about the rush, but they're still going in, so...
You can't stop Richie. I just don't think you can stop Richie at this point.
How many creeps has he actually hit this game? Let's have a quick look at that. Not that many, only 172. I thought he'd actually have caught up to the PA by now.
Yeah, but if you want to look at the CS, I mean...
Yeah.
Notice that there's 3 heroes from Infused that are pretty close to the Phantom Assassin.
Yeah.
But Richie is 11 for 3 for 12. Like, he's just had a great game. And he's got 3 lives. This is just like, you can't take down Richie. Even if the rest of his team dies, Richie is still going to be there, working his boots off and probably taking down the team.
You know what, it's a kind of a catch-22 the way the game developed, where Thompson's Viper, for Viper to be an effective pick, it's not able to really split push and farm that way, so you need to be grouping up, you need to be taking these kind of fights, but as I said, Infused actually at a certain point in this game just started having the upper hand in these kind of fights, because of the Wraith King to the Brewmaster, and yeah, we need to see massive plays from this Disruptor if Flints are going to survive the next fight.
Arya trying his luck, but that's going to be a stun. Richie going to be able to get the last... Oh no, Cook's going to be able to pick it up again. We've got the Death Ward drop down as well. This is really the last stand for Flint at the moment. We got the two Finns who are still alive, but this might be their last hurrah, as I think they are about to be dropped down into the lower bracket. So provide a good idea of who their opponents are going to be. We're about to see Mega Creeps. And Tyrox, once again you can call it. Okay, no need, because Seiso's going to call it this. GG's, guys! There's going to be Infused sitting and waiting in the grand finals, where we're going to have a full best of 5 tomorrow. Make sure though, guys, you are stay tuned into the show now, because we're going to get the lower bracket best of 3 going on, and it should be fantastically exciting to see whether or not a South African team is going to be able to make it to the grand finals of their own tournament, basically. Any post-game words, chaps?
No, I think that this has been a pretty good game, and Richie came to the party, really. 13 kills on a hero that went Blade Mail first, and I don't, as I said at the time, not such a fan of that build, but showed me that I was wrong, and Scans analysis showed me the light as well.
I'm just excited to see Bravado Motion facing Topson again, because after the first time they played against those guys, the BBD guys were scared.
Steam was just like, there's nothing you can do against Topson. But yeah, maybe we're going to see some mind games coming out from BBD Motion, as it is a best of 3. It's not over in one game, but it definitely does promise to be an excellent encounter. So stay tuned, guys, for that. That's going to be coming up in a few minutes. Yeah. Hari will be joining Uzut, and maybe I think I'm going to take a 1-game break, get some food, and then I'll be back for game number 2. Maybe Scan 2.
You can do that. You can do that, guys.
You got Hari.
I know. Look, I'm slugging away here all